GERO 508, how are you? So this is truly the home stretch, and congratulations. So it is Sunday night. I'm putting this together Sunday afternoon. Sorry. Um, and today is July 26th, and so this is a big week. All right. We've got a couple things that are coming up. Don't forget that we do have the marketing pamphlet due on the 27th. Okay. The instructions are fully laid out there for you. And a lot of you guys have already done it. Looks beautiful. I'm super excited. And there is an example in here. So if I click on this right here, and it takes me to this site in Blackboard, and then it comes down here again. Um, the learning objectives. So I want you to instill this into your marketing pamphlet. Here's your description, okay? And then if you click on this, this will take you to a previous student's example of a marketing pamphlet. Be creative. The sky's the limit here on this, okay? And we give you some guidelines down here in terms of what we want, and here's some frequently asked questions. Once you're all good, you upload it into Blackboard, turn it in right here. And yeah, it should be great. And so we've had a few questions. Hey, can I use the same references that I used for um, my mock paper, which is right up here? And yes, that'll be fine. Find some new ones too, though. Why not? And especially because we have really transcended from this is the biology to um, these are a number of interventions. And so, finding references with respect to the interventions are important. Okay. The other thing that's coming up. So this is due on Monday, which is tomorrow. Okay. And then we have right here the midterm. So you know the drill on this. Um, open up your browser twice. Okay, so that you can go back and forth and it's for the second half of the class. All right, and so that way you can, and you guys did great on the first time, and you're going to do great on the second one as well. So don't worry about that. Again, you access the midterm by clicking right here, um, and we will have it opening up for you. And as you see right now, it's hidden from you, but it will open up for you on the 30th of July. Okay, and yeah, you're going to do great. All right, so let's get into the last week, the content of the last week, which is truly, truly amazing stuff. Okay, and it's all about things that you can do, that we can do, that you can advise your friends, your family, your clients. Okay, so we're going to get right into that. We're going to click on our weekly assignments right here, which I just did, and it's going to take a little while to get in there. And sorry, it's slow today. Okay, there it goes. I'm using an ergonomic mouse right now too, and sometimes it's to protect carpal tunnel syndrome, and sometimes it has a funny click feature to it. Okay, awesome. And then this down here is just we call this extra credit. So just do a discussion on this. We just didn't have time to get into this, but there's so much. We could have got into sleep and how important sleep is in terms of the mind to body connection, in terms of a lot of the hormones we talked about. We have cortisol changes with sleep, we have growth hormone changes with sleep, and just how disrupted sleep changes those hormones and then changes from the neck down physiology. And then this right here is super important stuff, okay? And so eating the right foods that do not cause inflammation, okay? Because there's evidence, and this is a real cool gift, that shows you that activation of the immune system, inflammation down here in your stomach, and that's what it's an illustration of, can transcend into information going up into the brain that activates the stress response, okay? And the stress response in turn can mess with the inflammatory aspect of your gut. There's also evidence of endotoxins released by bacteria, okay, that again travel up the nerves and get into the brain that are responsible for Parkinson's disease, depression, and Alzheimer's. So it's really, really, I mean, we could do an entire course on this. People have their entire careers devoted to this, and it's just an awareness of this, okay? You can go in there and do play with the discussion, have fun with that. So we click right here. Again, it takes you into this extra credit discussion, and it takes you to this paper right here. and then it's it's laid out pretty well, and then a cool YouTube about this microbiome gut to brain axis. Okay, and these are all things that you can again I encourage you to look over because you can use this all of you in your careers and also in terms of your life. All right, let's go back to what's going on this week. Okay, we're going to do right here meditation. Okay, and I proudly wear my Relay for Life t-shirts. I have a lot of them because Julie and I go to numerous Relay for Life events to support cancer research. Okay, so we're going to be talking about meditation. This is a really cool scientific paper, okay? And just read it with the intent of learning and not stressing out about the immediate content. This video will show you how to practice this one form of meditation. It's called Kirtan Kriya, and it's really neat in that what it does, it gets you into a rhythm, okay? Because what you want to do with meditation is you want to free the mind from rumination on things that give you anxiety and stress, okay? And so initially with Kirtan Kriya, it's an automaticity that you have to learn. Okay, so there's a certain amount of motor movements like this, like this, like this, and you combine it with a rhythmic chant that you learn. But then after a while, it becomes like driving a car. It becomes like typing on a keyboard where you don't have to think about what you're doing, and then that rhythmicity kind of frees the mind. It's enough of engagement that you won't be ruminating on things that cause stress. Okay, so that's what that's all about. So let's take a look at this particular paper that looked at meditation. It's a great paper. Okay, from an Alzheimer's practitioner from the University of New Mexico in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease. And he, again, looked at this one unique form of meditation, okay, Kirtan Kriya, okay. Now, again, you can't look at all forms of meditation because they're all different. So in terms of when you guys did your papers, he reduced his independent variable, which is the one you manipulate as a scientist, and then he had the one independent variable is whether you did this type of meditation or not, and then he was able then to look at a number of dependent variables that are reflective of the overall brain health and physiological health of people that practice meditation. Okay. Alrighty. And he talks about, again, I always talk about just going down into diving deep into the abstract because it tells you pretty much what's going on. Okay. And so again, it's 12 minutes a day. Okay. And in this practice, but again, this is not the only form of meditation. So you can do any form of meditation, and he talks about the other forms. Okay. But this was the form that this author investigated. Okay, and and he in his analysis says that it improves sleep, and sleep is super important. Like I said, for regulating your hormonal and from neck down physiology. Looking at cortisol levels and looking at growth hormone levels are dramatically impacted by sleep. And so you have if you can improve your sleep, you're going to improve how these hormones are modulated and released. Okay, and and it's been found to decrease clinical depression, reduce anxiety, um, reduce inflammation, and we saw with the psychoneuroimmunology component how important this is. Okay, um, but also improve the genes for the immune system that are essential for fighting off infections. Okay, and then we come down here, it's going to get rid of the diabetic condition. Okay, and he actually found evidence that a key indicator of aging that is in tissue that gets renewed. Okay, so your gut, your skin, any type of tissue that undergoes cell division, the lining of your vasculature, that the telomerase was improved. Okay, which gives you an improved opportunity for replacing bad cells with new, really good cells. Okay, alrighty. Um, And so again, he go. I just want you to kind of read through this, but he compares it to modalities such as exercise and diet. And realistically, I think that the bottom line is you combine them all. Okay, alrighty. So here he describes the study. All right, um, and a fairly large study, and it's called the finger study, right? So the Finnish geriatric intervention study to prevent cognitive impairment with a great acronym called the finger study. Okay, and it had quite a few participants, as you can see. All right, and what was neat was it had a longitudinal 7-year follow-up period. All right, and that's a pretty substantial study. All righty, and what they did is they looked at a number of things. Nutritional intervention, which is super important. Sadly, we didn't get to that, but that's just the gut microbiome, along with regulation of insulin and IGF-1, and depending on your diet, um, and then physical exercise, cognitive training, social activity. So all these different things we looked at. Okay. These are all lifestyle factors. And then he gets into stress, and he talks about stress. It's amazing you guys can now read this and fully understand it. Okay. Now the key thing that he's talking about is in the when you look at these interventions, can we replace things like drug use for sleep problems or for anxiety problems? Um, can we improve the direction of the disease beyond drugs? Okay. All right. So again, um, so he describes again this study right here, the looking at kirtan kriya, okay, and how it positively impacts the brain. All right. So then he go again over. Here's your review of stress, and you guys are so on top of this. You really don't need to read this. You can look it over real quickly and just go, oh my God, I can't believe I understand all this. Okay. He also talks about inflammation right here. Okay. He talks about the negative impacts of chronic stress that you guys are now totally on the ball with. Okay, mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease. Remember how stress, the cortisol feedback can cause um, deficits in the hippocampus. Okay, and that's super important in terms of with respect to this is where Alzheimer's disease begins. Okay, all righty. Um, and then he gets in and he talks about the study. Okay, so we're looking at again a double-blind study. Okay, there's a placebo. All right, compared to cortisol. Okay, so this is this is not what he did, but he's talking about the background to the premise for what he's doing here. Right. Then he goes from there and he builds into meditation and what is key with meditation. So this goes over the features of meditation that you should read about again, and the goals. Okay, he talks about the relaxation response. Okay, and can you achieve these 4 different goals through the form of meditation that you use? Okay, all right. He gets in. He then will talk about different types. Okay, so there's mindfulness-based stress reduction. He talks about transcendental meditation techniques. And this is all building to his crescendo, where then he will um, 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 say, okay, so these are all different great interventions, and then he's going to talk about the Christian Kriya and how important that is in terms of achieving these same goals. All right. So he goes again. Here's again the description of the different forms of meditation right here that are there's lots of evidence, and he's just building his case. Okay. Then he gets into the Christian Kriya, and again, so this is this repetitive automaticity that you develop. Okay, that allows you to free your mind, and this is what all this is all about. So he describes what it is you should be achieving, your goals of achieving when you practice this particular form of meditation. All right. Satanama, satanama. Okay, boom, boom. And you could do it while saying it, whispering it. Okay, I'll show you. Or you can just think it. Okay. Okay. I kind of whispered it there. So you just do that. And then what they did is they went in and they started to look at brain function. Okay, which is pretty awesome. All right. So these are different types of imaging techniques. Okay. Um, this would be looking at functional magnetic resonance imaging. Okay, and we're looking at changes in two different brain areas. So the frontal lobe, you see this increased activity. That is exactly what antidepressant medication's goal is. You can do transcranial magnetic stimulation, again, the same goal, because do remember under the stress response that the amygdala got giant and your prefrontal cortex that is an override, okay? It shrinks with chronic stress, okay? So now we're seeing that you can choose drugs, you can choose transcranial magnetic stimulation, or you can do exercise, you can listen to music, you can do Christian Kriya or some other type of meditation to increase activity in the frontal lobe that causes it to grow so that when a stress does happen, you can now override, okay? This is the pathway of incoming sensory information to the frontal cortex, okay? And again, we see an increase. You can see the gold dot compared to there, the gold dot, that's a reflection of increased activity, okay? So that is during the moment, okay? And then we can look at blood flow, okay? You see right here. And this is another readout of blood flow. So this blood flow is indicating now we're getting some permanent changes in the brain, okay? So this is just an image, and then right here, this would be a type of scan called a PET scan, where we're looking at the flow of blood. Okay, you do it by looking at radioactive glucose. All right, the more active a brain area is, the more glucose it wants. Okay, and we see once again, okay, when we look at pre versus post, you see the prefrontal cortex is getting more lit up, and the incoming sensory information you can hear, you can see, you can smell is enlightened. Okay, and these changes then are super important. Okay, in fact, they talk about as they're going through here that you see these dramatic improvements in these brain areas. Okay, and at the same time that they talk in this section right here about a shrinking of the amygdala, which is awesome. Okay, alrighty, so okay, and then they go from that. These are all the brain activities. Again, like I said, this was just looking at glucose flow in the brain. That's what a PET scan is. You improve sleep, which improves your cortisol release. You improve sleep, which improves your growth hormone release. Okay, which are all important for a happy, healthy, and long life. Okay, alrighty. And then they have a quick overview of mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, and why this is important. All right. So there you have it. Super cool. Okay. This will guide you if you want to practice Christian Kia. This is what it is like. You can either go here or here, and it's just you could turn this on, set yourself up, and do this. Okay. And this is what it looks like. Okay.
Sadanama, 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 Sadanama,
Okay.
Sadanama.
And just do that for 12 minutes a day in a really peaceful environment. Okay. And see what it does to your overall well-being. All right. All right. From there, then this gets into a real quick overview of it, of how powerful it is,
For
which
thousands
is
of years,
awesome.
people have
I
practiced
love these little
meditation
science
for
videos. Okay.
spiritual, emotional, and
And
physical well-being.
again, they talk
Without
about
produce
the
damage to your
telomeres,
DNA and
like we
lower
were
cell.
talking about. They
Both
talk about
meditators
heart
and
function.
non-meditators
They
were
talk
given the
about
flu virus.
immunity.
Meditators were able
All these
to
great
look at the
things about
entire
what
body. Not
meditation
only do
does.
we see decreased blood pressure, but it can also increase the variability of your heart rate. And
All
while
right.
this
What
may
else they
sound
talk about?
harmful,
Right here, look.
meditation program, gray matter was more dense in areas
The
associated with
prefrontal
learning, memory
cortex
processing,
got
and emotion
bigger for
regulation.
better
And yet the
emotional control, better
amygdala, which
memory,
deals with stress,
better
blood
learning,
pressure,
and
and fear, had decreased gray matter. When we look at the entire body, not only do we see decreased blood pressure, but it can also increase the variability of your heart rate. And
it's awesome. All right, so watch that. All right, then you get in here, okay? I want you to explain in your own words how meditation might work from what you now know about stress, the HPA axis, okay, about psychoneuroimmunology, about diabetes and depression. All right, just let it flow. All right, it's awesome. All right, so that is it, guys. And then we're going to have the final send-off lecture. And Julia will join me for that. We're going to put that together tomorrow morning. And it's going to be awesome. And again, we're super proud of you guys. So with that, I hope you can do a little, speaking of Julia, there she is. Okay, I hope you can do a little meditation. There she is. That was her honeymoon, which is awesome. And find peace this evening. All right. Speaking of which, peace.